Hi, my name is Jason Courtemanche, and welcome to Mastering Autodesk Vault, Setup and Optimization. So in Vault, if we want to configure item categories, we come into Tools Administration, Vault Settings, go over to Behaviors tab, we come down on and click on Categories, and then depending on what you were last in, you might have to come up here and select on Item Categories. And then this is the list of the default item categories in Vault. By default, let's say if you're using Inventor files, when you create items, assembly files will automatically get assigned to assemblies, parts will get assigned to parts. And then for us, for configuring purposes, we can come in here and we can control, if we select one of these and click edit, we can change the name if we want, change the color or description. If we know that we're not going to use one of these, let's say like this particular one, we know that we're not going to use it, we can, instead of deleting it, we can just make it unavailable, and then that way it won't be an option. Whichever one has the check mark, that's the default, unless there's an item assignment rule, which we'll get to in a moment. So out of the box, Inventor assembly files go to assembly, Inventor part files go to part files, and then down here, depending on which one we're selected, we can basically choose by clicking assign which lifecycle definition we want to reference. And so by default, we'll be referencing this item release process, but we can always change to a different custom one or one that we've made. And then we want to make sure that the check mark is on the lifecycle that we want the item to auto inherit. And this basically helps us so that we're not having to come and manually change lifecycle definitions for every item that's created. Then we want to check the revision information, make sure that we're getting the right revision format. And then if we want something different, we can come down here and either double click to make it the default, or we can also remove the ones we're not using so that we'll only have one listed. And remember, if we change the revision information on, let's say, parts, we should also come up and make sure that we do the same thing to the other item categories. That way, so that they're all consistent. So we want the same revision scheme for all Inventor files. And then we also want to make sure and check which kind of properties are being assigned to an item. This equivalence value is tied to the Inventor part number. And so whatever the Inventor metadata part number is what the item number will be. So this property needs to stay here. We don't want to remove it. And then we can always add other types of metadata to the item, whether it's designer or something else. This is where we would auto assign the properties, and that way, whichever property gets assigned there, if we go and look at the item, and I come down here, we can see that the settings that we make in the item category only affect new items that are being created, not old ones. So that's something to keep in mind. So we can see that this particular item's at, work in progress, version 1, it's never been released. So in this case, if I delete this item, then I can come back here and remake it. And when I remake this item, it will get the new settings. So if I come to the top level assembly, right mouse click and do assign and update, because I have the option to create items for all of the children files, this should find and create the missing item. And so this is the reason why it's important to test. So I deleted this item, we just recreated it. I forgot and didn't realize that this particular item is an assembly item. And so this is a good thing to remind. With the settings that we changed on a part category and not the assembly category. And so that's why we're not seeing the new property right here. So that's just a good reminder that anytime we make a change, we want to test to make sure that we've changed all the settings and that it's behaving the way that we intended it to. So if I want to make the same change like we did on the part, I just go to Assembly, go to Properties, we'll go to Assign, add the designer. And we'll go to this item. All right, I'll just delete the top item. So now we can see I deleted. Okay, assign and update. And see, now we have the new property created. And so the important thing to remember is to test what you're making changes of, and to remember that changing either the item property or file property only affects new files or new items that are created. It won't change any of the files that are or items that are already in the system.